What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You know who I am. And in this video, I'm doing my top 10 worst movies of 2020. Number 10 is The Turning. Now, this kind of movie has been done so many times before. It was just so hard to watch. Nothing was exciting, nothing happened, and it wasn't scary. The trailer for the movie was more scary than the actual movie. And if that's the case, then that's saying something. I really didn't like this movie. It didn't make any sense. And the story, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, has been done so many times before that it's crazy. I mean, The Haunting of Bly Manor kind of did the same thing too. And when you see that story and you see this movie, you're like, what the hell happened? You know, different filmmakers have different ideas of what's going on. And this just goes to show that that was the case. So number 10 on my top 10 worst movies of 2020 is The Turning. Number 9 is Birds of Prey, or The Emancipation of Harley Quinn, or whatever they want to call it. I have no idea what this movie was. This movie was way over the top. It should not have been made. There was no need for a sequel to give her her own movie. She's much more better as a sidekick. Don't get me wrong, Margot Robbie is fantastic as an actress, but she's more so better to play Harley Quinn if Joker's around. And put her with a Joker that actually makes sense, and not the Jared Leto Suicide Squad one, but maybe more so of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker or the Heath Ledger Joker. I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, you could actually put her with the Jack Nicholson Joker. She probably could have even done better. But, you know, hey, this is a different reiteration of it. I know, oh, we can't put them with certain characters, can't mix it. Listen, hey, these are my opinions, and if you don't like it, that's fine. But Birds of Prey didn't do it for me at all. And you waste one of the best Batman villains in Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. Like, don't do that at all. Why? Why are you doing that? You know, they could have done so much more with this movie, and it just didn't work at all. And I just wish they'd done more. But it's part of the DC extended universe of movies now, so, you know, hopefully let's see what they do with the character, or if they bring back Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. So number 9 on my list, it's Birds of Prey. Number 8 on my list is The Invisible Man. Yes, I know. A lot of you loved this movie, and I am a huge fan of the Claude Rains Universal Monster version of The Invisible Man, because that one was just perfect. It was done so well. It's scary, it's creepy. It's basically takes the form of the psychological aspect of what an invisible man is about to do with everything, like do murder when he can get away with it, rob the bank when he can get away with it. This movie was more centered on the psychological aspect of the wife, and I didn't like it because we didn't see the main character of the Invisible Man that much. There is a twist that I actually didn't like at all, and more so this movie was not a horror movie, it's more of a thriller. But the filmmaking, the cinematography, the aspect of it was good, but it didn't make up for the fact that this movie could have been so much better. Of course, this movie got rave reviews because, oh, it's The Invisible Man, it's going to kick off, you know, a new cinematic universe for monster movies. Yeah, that wasn't the case. And I have nothing against director and writer Lee Wanell, who does the Insidious movies and directed this. It just didn't work at all. You know, I wanted more of something to happen, and that just wasn't the case with this. So number 8 on my list is The Invisible Man. Number 7 on my list is Wonder Woman 1984. What in the hell is this movie? This movie made no sense at all. It was all over the place. And it's actually good that nobody saw it in theaters, and it was actually, you know, on HBO Max or one of those streaming services that are out there right now. The reviews were terrible. It's even bad when the reviews are much more worse than Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. So that goes to say something, and that's quite interesting if you tell me. So I just didn't like the aspect of it. Once again, DC is supposed to be known for their villains, but they didn't do it with this time. You know, even though Pedro Pascal was the villain in this, the villain in this should have been more menacing, more scary, but he wasn't. So, you know, and then with the whole 80s feel to it, it felt like it was modern day 1980s. You know, you're just throwing shit in there and throwing shit around and saying, oh, this is 1984. We're going to put some 80s pop music in there just to make it feel like it's the 1980s. It didn't work, and, you know, hey, Gal Gadot is fantastic fantastic as an actress, and she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. But this couldn't make up for the fact that this movie could have been so, so much better. Kristen Wiig, however, was really good as Cheetah, but it could have been done in a different way. She gave the movie more of a comedic feel to it, which was good, but you could tell the whole CGI render of Cheetah should have been much more pristine and much more picture perfect for a movie like this with a budget like this. Even with Birds of Prey, it's still part of the DC extended universe of movies. So number 7 on my list is Wonder Woman 1984. Number 6 on my list is Capone. Now Capone stars Tom Hardy as Al Capone, and I don't know what this movie was. To be honest, I actually fell asleep during it, and it was just not good. When you have bad reviews, it's really, really, not good at all. And this just goes to show that this movie couldn't do anything at all. And good thing it didn't make money at the box office, because this would have been a bomb at the box office. It definitely would not have gotten back its money. It definitely would have had more reviews than it should. And I'm pretty sure the filmmakers and the actors in this movie don't want to say they starred in this movie, because nothing was good about this movie at all. Yeah, Tom Hardy tried his best to play Al Capone, but it just didn't work for what it was. So number 6 on my list is Capone. Number 5 on my list is Fantasy Island. Yeah, Fantasy Island, that famous TV show from the 1970s and 80s, was made into a horror movie from Blumhouse. No, don't turn it into a horror movie when it's not supposed to be a horror movie. It has nothing to do at all with the concept of what the TV show is, and they basically just took something and just ran with it. Don't do that, because you know it's not going to work. Granted, there are people out there that I know who love movies like this and who love to watch films like this, but for me, this just didn't do anything. It was a short movie. It was a quick watch. The whole idea and concept of it never made any sense. Great, you go to this fantasy island because you want to figure something out. Oh, this girl bullied you in high school. Okay, so get revenge on her. What do you want to be done to her? It's like an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, Get back at the revengers that you want. That's all this movie was. It wasn't something exciting or simple. That was it. It was boring, it was weird, and it was uneventful, so to speak, and nothing of it was a horror movie, even though they categorize it as a horror movie. When the movie poster looks more interesting than the actual movie, yeah, then that's saying something. So, number 5 on my list is Fantasy Island. Number 4 on my list is Doolittle. Yes, Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doolittle. Now, this is not the Dr. Doolittle that we know with Eddie Murphy, because those movies were great, and the original was great, but this one with Robert Downey Jr. was weird. It made no sense. Talking animals, an array of lots and lots of actors who voiced these animals, and other than that, that was it. Nothing exciting happened. If you watch the trailer for it, this movie is what it is, and that's it. It's simple, it's not exciting, and hey, of course parents probably took their kids to go see it, but hey, you could have waited and just watched it on home video or video on demand, or just wait for it to come out on television, because this movie is nothing special. So number 4 on my list is Doolittle. Number 3 on my list is The Grudge. Yes, the remake, retelling, rehashing, re-prequel, re-something of a something. This movie was so boring that I couldn't even pay attention to it. It was so confusing, couldn't pay attention to it. The only good thing about this is the character that everybody knows of from The Grudge. That's it. And the whole, you die from, emotion or rage or revenge or something, and something happens, and all that stays behind, and you get haunted by it. The overlining factors of The Grudge, with story on top of story on top of story, going back and forth within time and years and periods, didn't do it for me. Even though this one was much more harder to understand, it just didn't work. The originals were easier to understand with the American version of it. Even the Japanese versions were so much easier and much more scarier. This was such a boring, slow-moving story that it's one of the most boring horror movies that I've ever watched, and I don't even know why it got made. John Cho, however, was great in it. Hey, I mean, the whole factor of throw an Asian American or throw an Asian character in there because it's The Grudge, you need to stop doing that. Don't do that. because this movie didn't work and it won't work, and it didn't even get critical acclaim, because it was that bad. So number 3 on my list is The Grudge. Number 2 on my list is the most controversial movie of 2020, The Hunt. Yeah, that movie. Of course you know what movie I'm talking about. That movie was taken off of release dates, put back on, taken off, put back on, but it didn't get much recognition because right as soon as it came out, the pandemic started. So not much things were going on with this movie. I saw it, and like I said, this story has been done so many times before, in many, many ways, in many, many incarnations. It's been done in comedy movies, it's been done in horror movies, it's been done in action movies. I have no idea what this one was because it's nothing nor comedy or action or horror. It's just a rightful out movie that evidently has a political viewpoint to it, which some always look to. I mean, if you just watch a movie for a movie, then great, it's entertainment. But for some out there with the gun control and overbearing of hunting people, evidently it was just, hey, this movie is what it is, we're hunting people, and let's call it The Hunt. Of course, it was Blumhouse again, but, hey, it's Blumhouse. They make really, really good movies, and they make really, really bad movies. So number 2 on my list is The Hunt. So my number 1 worst movie of 2020 is Songbird. Yeah, if you've never, I know some of you have never heard of it, but it's a sci-fi thriller which was produced by Michael Bay, and it actually tells the story of the pandemic. Yeah, so the story takes place in 2024. The COVID-19 pandemic has now become the COVID-23 pandemic, and the world is in its 4th pandemic year, and nothing has changed, and this just goes on, and it's just bad. Of course, people, all of a sudden, the movie, it's based off of current events, let's watch it, hopefully it's good. This movie was shit, it was horrible, didn't make any sense. You should not make a movie all of a sudden that's based on current events so soon. You wait maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe even a decade to make a movie like this, because some people, you don't want to watch a movie like this because it hits too close to home. I mean, they even have Q zones or concentration camps for people who are taken from their homes and put there because they think they're have the virus. It's a stupid idea which didn't make any sense. Good thing I actually didn't see it until it was on television or it was on video on demand. I forgot how I watched it, but I wanted to see it because hey, it's the pandemic story, let's see what happens. Nothing. This movie was just bad, didn't make any sense. The ending was horrible, and everything put together was just really, really annoying at times. The whole thing of, let me help you, this and that. No, the government's doing this, the government's doing that, the government's hiding this. That's what the movie was, and that's what the movie is. You can actually skip this movie, and I'm telling you to skip this movie because it's not even worth your time. I mean, listen, hey, I wasted close to 85 minutes of it. This movie is under an hour and a half long, and that's saying something, which is good because it's only 85 minutes, which is fantastic. Any movie that's 80 to 85 minutes is worth a watch because then it's going to be really, really bad. So, number 1 on my list is Songbird. So let's recap my top 10 worst movies of 2020. Number 10, The Turning. Number 9, Birds of Prey. Number 8, The Invisible Man. Number 7, Wonder Woman, 1984. Number 6, Capone. Number 5, Fantasy Island. Number 4, Doolittle. Number 3, The Grudge. Number 2, The Hunt. And number 1, Songbird. So let me know in the comment section below what your top 10 or top 5 worst movies of 2020 are. I'm really curious to hear what your answers are because I'm pretty sure it's nothing compared to my list. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos on my channel. And you know where to follow Marchio Productions and me, Mr. Filmstock. I'll leave a list of all the social media accounts in the description box below. You guys can check it out and follow along. I'm Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.